veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capping space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
Well, what's up, Alex? What's up? What's up, viewers? A-Team. What's going on? Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. What's going on with everybody? I used to think that Monday, everybody don't look forward to Monday, but I look forward to any day that I get to wake up. You know what I mean?
I know that's right. I agree. Yeah. Any day you wake up is a good day. You say you wake up above ground, it's a good day.
Right. And I've been very busy as of late. But again, that's also a good thing because better busy than bored, I say. Especially if you're being productive.
Yeah. So were you productive today?
Yeah, pretty productive. I'm juggling a lot. But yeah, very productive because I got a couple of film projects on the horizon that we really pushing. This the business side of show business, so it takes a while to get to the show. But
well, so how's that writing coming along? Hey, Roro, how you doing?
Yeah,
good to see you.
Yeah, writing for me it comes pretty easy, but you have to really get into a flow. Sometimes you get stuck, you can't think. You get a brain freeze, but once you get a good flow going, you'll just keep writing and writing and writing. So, but yeah, it's coming along good.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good to hear because I want a bit part in one of these productions that you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we get a nice shot at the back of your head.
You know what? You're not gonna play me like that. I want a nice little bit part. It doesn't have to be a starring role, but I want a nice part. Okay, I mean that with
speaking or non-speaking.
Yeah, I'll take speaking. I'll take a speaking part. You got any parts for singers too? Because I can't sing, but I'll try.
Yeah, it might be one. It might be a part for singing Rod Posse because that got some music to it.
Okay. All right.
What's up, Roro?
Yeah, Roro for real.
Wow.
Member extraordinaire. She says, "Hey, Alex. Hey, Alex." Yeah. So,
and Roro, did you see Belle Collective last week? Did you see it? Because
I think she did. She did.
We got some things to discuss, so we're gonna let some more people come into the room.
Right.
You get your cue cards together.
Hang on 1 second. I tossed over something here, and let me see if I can get it.
Yeah.
Man, but your writing is coming along. It's coming along okay. Well, when are you gonna start? When do you anticipate that you'll start filming on one of these projects?
Oh, it'll be next year, but by the end of this year, we'll be closing it on funding. That's what I anticipate. And then the film will be next year. So yeah, that's how I'm looking at it. Then my granddaughter, my 2-year-old, she's not feeling too well. Her nose was running today, and
whatever it is, she gave it to you already. I'm sure.
So she was a little sleepy off and on. She get up and play, and then she'll go and lay back down, and get up and play and go and lay back down. So she was up and down. So she's not feeling not feeling like herself.
Okay, maybe I'm wondering if maybe she just didn't have a good night of sleep because that happens to me sometimes. If I don't get a good 7-8 hours of sleep, I'm no good. I'm finding, like when I was younger, I used to be able to burn the what do they say? How do they
candle
call it?
At both ends.
Yeah. I could burn the candles at both ends and keep on ticking. But now, like, forget about it.
Them days over for me. You know, forget it.
for
You know,
for me too, apparently.
yeah. You know, but my grandbaby, she has her own room now. You know, since I bought the house for them and everything. You know, she has her
Uh-huh.
own room, and she's
She
still
may
getting adjusted to
Yeah, I
being
was
in there
gonna
without
say
her mama.
right. She probably doesn't sleep well. She probably like tossing and turning. I know when I was a little girl, I felt the same way. And sometimes I'd have to get in the bed with both my parents because, it was like lonely in my room by myself, being an only child. So yeah, having
Right,
that room by yourself, it doesn't really hit you the right way until maybe you're like a teenager. You're in between like 10, 11, 12, or you're a teenager. Now you want your own space, but as a little toddler, that
right.
ain't that ain't that ain't what she wants. She like, I want to be in the bed with mommy.
Yeah, and I tell you, I've come a million miles from how I grew up because they had their own rooms and they're 2 years old and things like that. And you know,
Mm-hmm.
it was three of us, three boys,
And
and
y'all was all in the same room and probably the same bed.
one bedroom and two beds pushed together.
I had two beds pushed
Two
together.
beds pushed
Okay, so you
together.
did have the two bed. Well, hey, you know what? Y'all was living high off the hog if y'all had two beds and not just one. Y'all was Sadiddy
Yeah, two twin size beds pushed together to make one full size for the
to
three of
make
us.
to make the full size. And
Yeah,
who got to lay? Who was the unfortunate person that got to lay in the middle where you about to fall in between the two beds?
yeah,
Was
that
that
was
you?
that was Eric because he was the thinnest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh my lord. Y'all just gonna put that on him just because he happened to be Slim Jim.
Yeah, he got squashed plenty a day. Believe that.
Hey, Monique King, member and moderator extraordinaire, and hey,
Uh,
Ellen V. All right, A-team
Monique,
member and moderator extraordinaire also.
Monique and Ellen, they the two that
The
never sleep, the dynamic duo.
dynamic duo, exactly. That's what I was just about to say. Absolutely, absolutely.
Got to put
Well,
their
we
themes. Got to put their theme music on.
Batwoman.
Right,
Oh wow,
exactly.
I'm not gonna even guess. I'm not gonna even venture to guess which one is Batwoman and which one's the Robin.
Robin S. Robin
Robin
S.
is. But Robin is a unisex. No, but really, Robin is a unisex name. Think about
It
Robin
is.
Roberts.
It
Yeah,
is. Yep, sure is.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, okay, so we
wow.
open with the Keisha meeting with Marie and Letitia to clear up the ugly, and I have
Yeah.
quotation marks around ugly gossip
Hmm.
at lunch. Um, and they decide basically to move forward. What did you make of this scene? Because I thought it was a pretty good scene. What did you make of it?
Well, it's finally one of their little. I mean, albeit small, finally a brunch worked out.
Yeah,
For you
yeah.
know, with a
No, no.
positive.
Notice that Letitia wasn't in charge of it either.
Right, right, right. And the plates were clean, apparently. So, but
You better watch what you say in
oh my
another week or
goodness.
so.
Oh my goodness. But yeah,
Hmm.
it was a good conversation with Marie, Letitia and Akeisha. So I think they got some things worked. That I think what came out of this mostly is that Tambra's kind of shady. I mean, that's basically what they were getting to.
I'm sorry, we gotta pause for a second. Do you read what's up on the screen,
Oh, look at Monique.
Monique?
LNV, we need to separate before they start calling us Marine S.
Never, never.
Oh, lickety split.
That never crossed my mind. I think they live in different states anyway.
now, would I say a thing like that?
Well, getting back on track. What I liked about this scene was that with Marie and Letitia and Akeisha, I like that the ladies were willing to be mature adult ladies and women about this and talk it out. Akeisha, was letting them know, hey, look now, I'm not in the habit of defending myself, but let me just tell you what it is, and you guys can believe me or not. I don't really give a what.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I think Marie was actually the voice of reason. That's another thing. Marie was the voice of reason because she said, you know what, we don't know for a fact. We only got it's Tamra's word against Akeisha's word. So
Right.
why don't we just let it go and we'll move forward and see how things go? Because let's give her a clean slate.
Yeah, but like I said, I really think everybody's looking at Tambra as a little shady at this point.
I
That
think so
yeah.
too, because we'll get into it in a minute. But Tamara's a little shady about other aspects of her life and being forthcoming about her relationship. But we'll get into that in a minute. And then also in this conversation in this meetup, we find out that Marie's mom has relapsed into her. She's having problems with drugs, right? Drug
Mm-hmm.
use, and apparently she's relapsed and is missing.
What else is new? I mean, listen. I mean, I'm not to sound, heartless or whatever the case is,
Yeah,
but
because you
this
kind of
is
do.
this has been going on since Marie been on the planet. So at
Yeah,
this point,
that's true.
why are you
That's
still shocked? Why are you still surprised? You have to expect the woman's going to relapse. You got to expect she's going to disappear and go on binges, and you're just hoping that every time she does disappear, that she reappear alive. That's all you're hoping for.
yeah, I think so. I agree, and I think it's not that Marie is surprised. I think that it saddens her and it's disappointing to her as a daughter. And you're right because this has been occurring her whole life as growing up as a child. And it's got to be I can only imagine, and my heart goes out to her because on top of having to deal with a chronic condition like lupus, she's also got to deal with her mother being missing. And as she said, her mother being missing, that can't be good news. No telling where she could be, or possibly she may not even be with us anymore.
Yeah, because added stress makes you sicker, and she's already dealing with lupus. So stress really affects her body negatively. It really does. So that's why it's stress, distress,
Hmm.
disease. All these kind of
Disease.
things.
Yes,
You
that's
know,
right. That's
so
right.
stress will destroy your body.
Do you see what
Um,
Roro says on there on
oh,
the screen, and then we'll move on to the next card?
Roro says, "I don't trust the truce, especially Letitia. She's a flip flopper." Wow.
Yeah, a little
Mm,
bit. She may have a point there. She may have a point there, and we're going to move on to the next note card.
mm. Okay.
And so, uh, and then the ladies are kind of talking about nobody really understood why Tambra had this security save her from talking about Demon and another woman. And then we see, they fast forward, we see across town, Demon and Tambra are discussing how he's supposedly a protector of her.
Mm.
I don't know, that whole conversation, it is they
So
talk
many,
about,
so
you
many
know,
mixed messages.
yeah, Tambra says, "Oh, this other woman, she's delusional. She must be what does she call it? It was a movie made by the title,
I
where
mean,
the uh
I'm not sure. Tampa may be the delusional one though.
well, exactly. And that's what I was getting out of it. And then also I was very closely watching Damon's body language and listening to his language. He is very vague when he's talking because he did say the only thing he was not vague about, he did say, well, we do not have an emotional connection.
Hmm.
And I thought to myself, well, yeah, but that ain't saying what other kind of connections you may have. So,
I
that was
mean,
the one thing he said, but everything else he was very vague and foggy about it. And he said, I don't like it. I don't like when she says this and that. I mean, this is what he's calling it, this and that, this and that. It just very much reminds me of Glenn. He's giving me Glenn energy.
yeah. And Roro in the chat says the movie was Fatal Attraction.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. That was it. That she said.
mm,
She said maybe this woman. She said I think maybe she could be jealous of me. She could
mm.
be jealous of the connection and the relationship that we have. And as a woman, I'm sitting here thinking any woman that's been in a romantic relationship with a man for 16 years off and on, and you're not married. I don't think anybody's jealous of that. What's to be jealous of?
I want I want Damon and Marie's designer in the room at the same time. I want to know what they're going to talk about in front of Tambra.
And you actually
Okay.
get your wish. We'll get to that too, though. We'll get to that. You actually got your wish, but
No, Tambra and the designer was in the same room, but not with Damon.
Oh, with the mod. Okay, I see
Yeah.
what you're saying. Yeah, the three of them. The three of them.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, all they're gonna do, Tamara's gonna have her fancy schmancy security officer usher them away. That's what she does. She
But
doesn't want to deal with the
what
truth.
is what does she need security for? I don't understand what she needs security
She
for.
didn't
That's
need
true.
security the other night, but look what happened. Security ushered them away just so they couldn't even talk about. I mean, she doesn't even want to talk about it. So that does scream somebody that's in denial or, like you said, delusional.
But
That's
think
what that
about
screams to
but think
me.
about it, Aubrey. If they've been off and on for 16 years, he probably slept with the woman. Big deal. So what? I mean, what
Well,
do they
and the
want?
but my problem with it is, here's the problem with that though, is that, like you said, if they're off and on again, which is why I don't do these off again on again relationships. I think they're stupid in my opinion. But the thing of it is that they are now, here's the thing, they're now back on. But see, because they're such flip floppers, the both of them, and they're not intentional about their relationship. And we'll get to that too, because when he asked her about moving in but not, giving her the ring. So you see how these two people, both of them, it's not just him, it's her too. Neither one of them are intentional and seem to be committed to what they say they want. And
Mm,
so the problem with it is, what I see, why she's distressed is because she has now decided to be on again with him. But the problem is to what you're alluding to, is that he was with this other woman. And see,
right.
so now he's saying, well, I don't like it. I get upset when people try to say bad things about you or look at you in a bad way. And I come to your defense. But the real defense is, if you really felt anything and wanted to protect her and you thought of her as your woman and your wife, go ahead and make her your wife. I double dare you. I
Right.
double triple dare you.
And sat there at that table and said, "Okay, you're moving in," and she's like, "Well, without a ring."
Right, right,
you
right,
know,
right. I don't know if you saw my new thumbnail that's up there. She says, "But there's no ring yet. I haven't gotten a ring yet." And
right.
and trust me, I really seriously doubt that you ever will, Tambra.
Hmm.
I really do. And Tambourine, I mean Tambra, if you do get a ring, I trust and believe, I expect it to be another 10 years of being engaged. Like a lot of these women do that 10-year, 20-year engagement plan deal. So, I mean, at your age, I mean, if you really want to have this baby, maybe just go ahead and have the baby, because I don't see this guy marrying you. He
Yeah,
doesn't
because
seem to be in that type of he doesn't seem to be that type of guy. He's not a marriage guy.
is it because it's the thing is, what more is he going to get being married to her that he hasn't already gotten? Where's the benefit in being married to her? So that's probably what he's thinking.
Well, see, and to your point, that's a culture, and that's an ideal that people that have a certain mindset have. But because he didn't grow up in a two-parent home, he doesn't really spend any time with his father. So what does he know about that type of lifestyle? What does he know about creating a family? And he doesn't seem bent on wanting that for himself. So down south, where you got a lot of people that do common law marriages or just don't get married at all and just have the children, that's a culture. And I've been talking to you about this for a long time now, and
Long
you
time.
yeah, it's a culture. And so, like you said, so there's no benefit to him, because he doesn't think about leaving a legacy. He doesn't recognize how special a wife is. He doesn't recognize how special it is to wake up, for a child to wake up in the home with both parents. He doesn't recognize the value of that. And because he doesn't recognize the value, why, like you said, why get married?
And
And that's
and
exactly why she doesn't have a ring.
and toward the end of the conversation, when the scene was changing, she seemed like she was leaning toward moving in with him.
Oh
You
yeah.
know.
She's at the point, she's at that age, and for appearances, I feel like, even for the show, I feel like she's coming across as a pick Misha or a desperate woman. So
Mm.
that's not surprising that she would be willing to do that. And you notice that he said to her, he really isn't even trying to hide that he has no intention of marrying her, because he basically said, who knows, the baby may come before, the family may come before the marriage. Did
Sure
you notice
did.
that he said
Sure
that?
did. Yep.
So, like I said, he doesn't value marriage, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with people, because I run across people all the time, especially when I return to school, return to college. I ran across young people all the time that say, well, you're old school. We don't believe in marriage, it's just a piece of paper, or we're polyamorous and this and that and the other thing. And I say, okay, fine, do you. But he's really telling her everything that she needs to know, which is why I say I don't understand why women waste time with these jokers, because you say, if you really are sincere about, you really want to be in a marriage, this is never going to be the guy for you. Never.
And look, when you're in them small southern towns, the pickings are slim, you know.
Well, she
And
got a college degree. She might want to move.
this I've been to a town once, Aubrey, in
Mm-hmm.
Montana, and this town had 480 people.
Mm.
I mean that's nothing. I mean in New York we go to clubs with 480
480
people.
people. Right. I was just gonna say my class. I'm not gonna say my classroom was that size, but in high school, we had a high school that was over 2,000 students. So I mean, that's really small. You
Right.
talking about a town that small? I don't know that Jackson is quite that small, but it
Mm.
does seem like from watching these women move around and the men that they're connected to, with the exception of one or two of them that have good quality husbands, doesn't seem to be much pickings down there.
Yeah, pickings are slim.
Pickings are slim.
Yeah.
But I'll say this though too, to be fair, I think pickings are slim everywhere for women nowadays that are marriage minded.
Yeah, it's like what do we always say? The dating pool has pee and poop in it.
Hmm. So we make out about Damon and Tamara's relationship and the rumor of the other woman. And the last thing I want to say on this, I think, is that Tamara. It was really funny to me when Tamara said to talking about this other woman, the decorator. She wanted her to leave our names out of her mouth.
Mm,
Like, really, Tamara?
mm.
Really? This is what you're worrying about? You got fibroids. You're trying to have a baby. You're trying to get impregnated at God knows what big age you're trying to do this at, because I'm looking at you. Nobody's ever mentioned your actual age, but I'm gonna throw out 45. So you trying to get pregnant at 45? You got fibroids. You got issues with them, and trust me, I understand as a woman. But leave your name out of her mouth. Like, are you really worrying about what that lady's saying about you? You're not really concerned about whether he's actually sleeping with her. That's what you're worried about.
But in my opinion, he definitely has. In my opinion.
Absolutely, he
Mhm,
has. I
mhm.
would agree with you on that. And here's the thing I'm saying too. I'm going to just go ahead and say it. I would like them to leave Tamara off this series next season, because I'm not really seeing that she's adding anything. She's very non-transparent, and she's not a good fit for a reality show because she wants to hide her personal life right out in front of our faces. So that's no fun. We want to
And
know all the juice and all the tea and all the dirt, girl.
yeah, and she's shady on both sides of the fence. So that's the other thing. Is like who she's gonna have allegiance to, because everybody's seeing her as shady now.
What's
That's the
what's what
crazy thing.
Right, right. What Roro is saying that she says, I hope Tamarine doesn't move in with Demon Damon.
And
Hey, go
Jay
ahead.
Watley, Jay Watley said
Yeah,
that's too bad that some women can't see their own value when they still want to connect with men who don't want the same things. They want to still stay with
that
them.
with men who don't want the same things
Same
that they
things.
want.
Right.
Hmm.
Don't waste time with them. you know.
Exactly.
And have you
Jay Wiley,
noticed
I'm with you. I'm with
ha-
you. Like,
have
it's a waste of time.
yeah, have you noticed too that Tambra makes a concerted effort to really shape her mouth and enunciate every word
Oh my
properly.
God. That's why I say they
Um
can leave her off next season. I am so tired of her over enunciating. I am so tired of her trying to be prim and proper. I'm so tired. But the biggest thing about that, I could almost, because we as YouTubers, we can have fun with that. That's funny. That's funny. That's odd and it's strange and it's funny and it's kind of bougie. But the real problem I have with her, like I said again, is the lack of transparency. That's why I feel like she hired that security guard to move them away from the conversation, because she refuses to have the conversation, and that's the same thing that I think that she's probably doing in her personal relationship with Damon. She's not really having deep conversations, and again, I go back to his body language with her. He's very non-transparent also, and he's very sneaky. That's the sense that I get from watching his body language and listening to his language and his verbiage. He doesn't speak directly to any situation, and nor does she. So these are two people that really don't seem to know what they really want. Let's just call a thing a thing. He doesn't want to be married. I don't believe you do either, or you wouldn't have been messing around with this guy for 16, 17, 30 plus years. Like, what is that about? A woman has a short amount of time to get with the guy, marry or not marry, but procreate and have a family. We have a short amount of time. Men don't have that same issue. So
yeah,
quit letting men waste your time.
yeah, and he's an avoidant, because he's playing with words. Oh, we didn't have an intimate I have no intimate connection with her. I have no. And listen, all he needs to say is, listen, we've been off and on for 16 years. Her and I have had some sexual encounters, but I'm no longer interested in that. I want to pursue a life with you. What's wrong with saying that?
Exactly. Exactly.
So I
I
don't
mean,
I don't get the
and then
avoidance thing.
another thing, women. Why do we have to hear men actually say it? Why do we have to? His every behavior, his every action is telling you, is showing you he doesn't want you in that way. He doesn't. He
But you
doesn't.
know, Ellen says something. Ellen V says something on our last podcast, or even maybe even the one before. Getting the key to his place for her is probably the ring for her. That's probably the ring for her.
Really?
Getting the key is the ring.
Mm,
You know,
I
she,
don't.
you
Go
know,
ahead.
that's what it seemed like to me. She's not pursuing the marriage thing. She said, "Oh, you do everything backwards," but she's still going to move in with him. But he's doing everything backwards.
Yeah,
It doesn't
I
make any
don't know.
sense.
I'm not sure if I have a strong enough sense from the little bit she's really saying about marriage and how she feels about it. I'm not sure if she's willing to do that for the sake of the show and a storyline, or if this is genuinely. I'd like to have her come on and talk to us about it, even though the over enunciation will probably
She
kill
ain't
me.
coming here. Yeah, she ain't coming here.
Come here, Tambra. I mean, Tambra, come on and
Yeah.
talk. We want to interview you because I would really like to delve into the mind of a woman such as yourself that says she wants marriage but waits until 40 something to start actively pursuing it and stressing it to the man that you supposedly are in love with or have chosen for your mate. I just I don't get it. I don't.
And if
Yeah,
you
Ravine, exactly,
yeah,
exactly,
and, and,
exactly.
and if you off and on with the same guy for 16 years, the pickings are definitely slim. I just they have to be. Because you keep ending up with the same guy off and on for 16 years. That's a long time. There was no
I
other guy that she could build anything with over that time period but Damon.
I mean, even if you go outside of your town, like you said, maybe Jackson is. I think it's a medium sized city. It's not a big city for sure, but it's not a small town either, and it's not a suburb. But even if you were to go online, I mean, and what she does, the fact that she has a profession, the fact that she has education, I mean, again, I say move. I don't understand if you're looking for something and you want something and you're really serious and sincere about it. That's why I said I know she doesn't really want to be married either, so she ain't fooling me.
Hmm. Wow.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Ravine. She does. I do that too. So I'm not gonna front here. I do that too, but I don't try to over enunciate. Like, I mean, she just goes to the extreme, and I don't see the benefit to her or to the audience that she does that. Roro, she says, she will have to use her real dialect in order for us to listen to her, and it's probably better than the one she's been using because I don't find it very. If she only knew, if she's listening to us bloggers and YouTubers, I mean, they're roasting her. I don't even say that much about it, but
Yeah.
we'll move on to the next card and keep this train going. Um, Not surprisingly, it's hard to say his name. Damon is trying to usurp marriage and just wants to be common. These two could have did this 10 years ago. What the heck? Next, moving on to Glenda. Glenda visits Marie, who is actually Marie's grandson's other grandmother. And
Yeah.
let's talk about that. Let's talk. What were your thoughts about that scene? That was very touching, very somber, that this woman who lost her child, her was a 20-year-old daughter Raven, to
18.
18, thank you, I'm sorry, 18, lost her 18-year-old daughter to being unalived by some uh cowardly person that just did that to her in Jackson. And now they have the responsibility of raising her baby, her child. But I love the way they came together, and I guess out of ashes can be, of course, beauty. That these two women are strong and resilient and compassionate, and that they really care about this little grandbaby and his own father, young Jerez. The three of them are working together, and Jerez is even leaving college for a year to help out. So we see Jerez is starting to kind of step up a little bit.
Yeah, and first of all, Marie said to the mother of the deceased young girl, she said, "I'm not going to ask you how you're doing," and that speaks volumes because you just don't get over that. That's a hole in your heart for as long as you remain on this planet. So
Yeah.
there's no sense in asking her how you doing, how you holding up, how you this, how you that. Unless you know that pain, don't even address that like that. And you can see how the woman sits. How she looks, kind of glassy eyed. She's just
Yeah.
hurting. She has no idea what has happened in her life. Her life has totally been thrown for a loop. You know,
Yeah.
so my heart definitely goes out to her for that. I appreciate Marie for being there
Mm-hmm.
for her, and because this child is all she got left of her daughter, so she's
Yeah.
gonna she's gonna want to definitely be in this child's life, as long as she possibly can, you know,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely. And have you seen the little boy? He's such a cutie pie. He's such an adorable little boy.
yeah, we saw him a couple of weeks ago at the jungle gym, I think, with,
Mm-hmm.
with, with the other little
Oh
boy.
yeah, the birthday party, right?
Yeah,
For
and
Letitia's
but
son. Hmm.
as far as her son goes, I saw he left school because, in his words, he wanted to be with the child 25/8. Okay.
Yeah, boy,
My
they
my
got some
concern
they got
is,
some new math going on these days too, I
yeah,
think.
my concern 25/8, 24/7, whatever. Do you got some 25/8 money? You leave school, are you going to work? Are you going to work two
Mm,
jobs? What are you going to
mm,
do to bring some money in this house and man up to take care of this child? Because being there is one thing. This child got to eat. This
yeah,
child got to be clothed. This child
absolutely.
need a roof. You plan on staying with your mother the rest of your life? I hope not.
No, he says, well, here's the thing. Okay, so two things that I got out of that conversation, and that is an excellent and a valid question. But the two things that I did get out of, they didn't mention that, but they did mention that he was doing classes because I believe his college is he's commuting to college is 3 hours away, or he moved away to a college that's 3 hours away from where they live. Which his mother didn't want him to do that because he already has these three. He's not only that child, he's got two other kids that he's responsible for that he created with these other
Exactly.
women. So yeah, so he's taking. My understanding was he's taking the college classes online, and he's only doing that for a year. Then he'll return in person to classes. But that's a good point, though, is if he has an opportunity to work even part time, that would help his mother out, and that would also build character and fiber in him. Right, I agree with
Right.
you.
I mean, stop. Stop being a beggar. I mean, at some point, your pride as a man needs to kick in. You say, listen, I got to help my mother do something on the financial end. You can't just keep, mom got it, mom got it. Listen, your mother has a lot on her shoulders. She's dealing with lupus. She's running businesses. She's got a
Hmm.
mother that's been relapsing her whole life. She got these friendships that she don't know who's her friend and who's not, other than maybe Letitia. Okay, she just, it's a lot. So you have to take some of that as a young man. You have to take some of that load off your mother, and I just don't see him doing that. I really don't. I know that's her son. She's gonna love him regardless,
Hmm.
and she should. But somebody got to put a fire up under his behind.
Yeah, well, that's why I say that's where these missing men, these missing dads, these missing fathers, these missing uncles, these missing grandfathers
Right.
in our community, we have a very serious, serious problem that has went to tantamount urgency. There are missing men. There
Mm-hmm.
are missing men in our families, in our communities, in our homes, and not only the male children, but even the female children are not getting the benefit of all these good, loving fathers that are bringing values, and they're bringing guidance, and they're bringing leadership into the homes. That's what's missing. That's what's
Mm-hmm.
missing.
That's
Honestly, I'm not trying to preach, but honestly, that's what's missing.
right, because he
Because like
need.
but go ahead.
No,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, because he needs a man to
To
get in
tell
his
them
face
these
to tell
things.
him.
Exactly. Because your mother is a different energy. You're right. It's a different energy for Marie to tell him, and he just waves her off as if she's nagging. And I don't know if you recall, but at the beginning of this season, so it kind of goes back, I believe, to last season, that there was an issue with him and his mother, and he got physical, not striking or touching her, but he put a hole through the wall because he was so angry because she told him that exactly what you're saying, that it was time for him to man up. But could you imagine if he had a 6'2" father in his face talking to him and telling him the same thing? Could you imagine him putting a hole through the wall then? No.
And listen, I'll give you an example. A friend of mine, she has a son, grown man, always coming to her for money. Ma, you got $50? Ma, you got $100? Ma.
Where's his job at? You said he's grown, right? He's
not
a
works.
kid.
He works, but he fall behind in his bills, and he calls his mother. So she finally got tired of it. And the day she said to him, "Look, go ask your father," you know what his response was? "Nah, never mind, I'm good." That was his response. You know why?
Wait a minute, back up, say that again, because I was looking at the comments and trying to put them up.
When she finally got tired of him begging, and she said, "Listen, go ask your father," his response was, "No, never mind, I'm good." You know why he good? His father ain't going for that.
His father not going for the same thing. We women, some of us women coddle our black sons and wonder why they're failures, wonder why they're not achieving like our daughters are, because we coddle our black sons. I don't know where that comes from. I don't know where that energy comes from. I don't know where that demonic spirit comes from to coddle our black sons. I don't get it. And I don't coddle mine. I've got one of each. I've got a daughter and I've got a son, and I do not coddle my son. I do not.
Right.
I do not. And I've told my son that. I've been that person, like you said, that mother that has told my son, go to your father. And in fact, you know, as an adult man, he has a good relationship with his father. And that's who I sent him to. And he understands, and to your point, is exactly right, because men know and boys know that the dad, he ain't having that compassion that a woman is having. No. He's not bending. Now, if he sees you really need something, a decent father, and my son's father is a decent and good father to him. He's been very good to him, but he will help him out to a point, and then he knows exactly where that line is. He's very good about that. And I love that my son James is, you know, he's kind of come into that and now understands it, because I'm not going to bend over the extra mile, because I used to always tell my kids, and this might be wrong, but this is what I used to tell my kids growing up. You got me and my support for 18 years, and then sayonara. And now I didn't mean that. And, you know, looking back, and even then I knew I didn't mean that, but I wanted that to stick in their craw. I wanted them to get that sense that you got to fly and you got to get out here and you got to test your wings. And I think that his leadership, meaning the Lord, his leadership and the discernment that he put in me as a young mother enabled my children to go out and be very successful in the world. The classes and the extracurricular activities that I made sure that I put them in, the STEM programs, has benefited both of them greatly. I'm not doing that. We're not having no men laying around here and you looking at me for money. You want these $200 jeans and you expect me to give you money to buy them. You know, the little raggedy ones with the holes in them.
Right.
If you want that crap, you better go out, get your job, and pay for it your darn self, because I'm not doing it.
Yep. Because there has to be a balance. I mean, they have to know that we love them, but then there just comes a time for tough love, and you got to give it to them tough. You know?
Wait a minute. You gotta, okay. Well, last one, and we're gonna move on. But read what Roro said about this coddling situation.
Roro says, "I would have done what my mother did to my two brothers. Pull out the shotgun. My brothers ran so hard they passed my grandmother's house."
And Roro, if I'm not mistaken from our conversations, Roro grew up in the South. Kind of a small town where everybody knew everybody. So I could just see the brothers. I can see them now just jaunting past the grandmother's house. I like,
And you know what, Roro? She, because my mother was hard like that too. We were in the city, Brooklyn.
You have to be, especially with boys.
Yeah, and just something real quick. One time, my brother Ricky had gotten arrested, and we were more scared of my mother than we were of the cops. Okay, wow. That's how hard my mother was. Okay,
there you go. You have to be a drill sergeant sometimes.
So he gets arrested. Right, he's down at the precinct waiting for my mother to get there. Now he's scared because she coming. He'd rather stay locked up.
She was tough like me. She was a tough lady. I like it.
She bust right through the precinct doors. She pointed. She looked at my brother and said, "You paying me back my damn cab fare."
With interest.
I'm trying, I ain't got time for this mess, you know. So,
well, these
but
kids, I'm telling you, and especially these sons, they will try you to your outer limit. And you really, as a woman, if you're a single mom, my hats off to you. I tip my hat to you. I've been there. But you really have to put your foot down. You have to. I think the thing of it is, if you don't have the benefit of a man in your home doing the leadership, you as the single mom, you have to have a plan in place, which is what I always was thinking about when I was putting my children from very young into these STEM programs and seeing that the future was going to be computers and technology, engineering and math and science. That's where my mindset was that if I can prepare them for a good paying job, if I can prepare them for college, they're going to be ready. And don't say that I didn't do my part to prepare you, because if you fall and you fail or you're lazy, that's your choice. That's your choice.
That's it. You become grown. Your choices and the repercussions of those choices are yours. Don't come talking about, but when I was 7, you did. I don't want to hear that mess. You grown now.
Right. And as we move forward, what do you think about, law enforcement down there in Jackson, Mississippi is still trying to capture those responsible for unaliving poor young Raven. Jerez, when we talked about that, he's left college to take care of his son. He's going to return, and I guess I'll just end it with this, and we can move forward. Jerez, I was proud of him and happy to see that he gathered the two ladies. They held hands and he led them in prayer. So I see where he's at least attempting to step up. He's attempting to step up and step into his manhood, because that's what it basically is that, he's made these choices that has forced him to be a father figure to 3 children and to be a man and to be a father probably before he was really actually ready for it. But he has to step into it because this is the choices that he made, right?
Yeah, and I think he can only go as far as he can on his own. He's going to need some male leadership, some male mentorship.
That's what I was just thinking. You just read my mind. I was just thinking he needs a Marie needs to find him a mentor, because I don't see there being any her estranged husband. That doesn't seem to be the one. But he needs some male mentorship. An older gentleman that has a wife and has a family and has successfully raised children that have stayed out of trouble and stayed on a good path. He needs mentorship from a man like that.
Yeah, because I'm rooting for him. He's got to get his grind on. He got to get serious. But I'm rooting for him.
I'm rooting for him too. I think that he can do it. He can do it. But whether we'll see. So anyway, so Sophia, some people call her So Gucci, but I'm sticking with her given name, Sophia. I don't all this.
You're such a hater. You're just a hater.
I'm not a hater, but I just think it's silly. Sophia has a baby shower for her daughter, D, and the young man is there too, the father of the baby. So I thought that was very nice. So we do see a father in that situation. That was good, and I thought it was really beautiful. The scene was really beautiful. The entire family comes together. Her stepsisters. They've made amends the last episode, so they were all there. It was a beautiful family affair, and to put the bow on the car, JJ drives in with a new SUV that he's giving to he and his wife, her mother, bought for the couple and the baby, so that they would have a safe ride that would have enough room for car seats and the two of them and everything, the baby, the 3 of them. So What did you think of that?
Well, listen, I can't talk about what JJ did, because I done bought a house for mine, the whole house. So I'm all for that, getting them started on a good foot. Giving those type of gifts, something that they definitely need. But they keep giving those kind of gifts. Lover boy ain't going nowhere. If you see your family rolling like that, oh my goodness, yeah, go get it from your mom. Yeah, talk to JJ for me. So I don't want that kind of message to be conveyed, because it can easily be conveyed.
What kind of message though? What kind of message? You saying that it's not okay for him to buy his the child an SUV?
No, it is. What I'm saying is it is. I said, and I'm not one to talk because I bought mine a house. Okay. So, but what I'm saying is that the young man, the father of the unborn baby, a lot of times,
Hmm.
and I'm not sure what his mental state is, but a lot of times when they see that your family is rolling like that, they tend to get a little
Oh,
comfortable.
okay. I get what you're saying now. You're putting ideas into the young man's head that he's entitled to all of this because by virtue of the fact that he's with this young woman whose family is capable of doing these nice things for her, right?
Right. He's going to
Okay,
benefit from that.
I
And then
see what you're saying.
and you don't want tough times to hit later on. And he's saying, go talk to JJ for me, talk to your mother for me. Talk, no, y'all got to get yourselves out of this mess. Because people can easily get that misconstrued. Or they buying SUVs, or they buying houses, or they doing this, they doing it. They got it like that. So my child gonna be okay. No, that's your child. Never lose sight of the fact that that's your child. Okay. If people lose sight of that, when the grandparents are doing extravagant things.
Okay. Yeah, I get your point now. I get your point. I want to ask. I want to jump into the chat for a minute. Normally, I let these guys go because they be having their whole own other dialogue going on. But I want to ask about Cedric. Is that something I'm missing? Is that a joke I'm missing here? Who's Cedric? Monique said,
Cedric is Marie's husband, estranged husband.
Okay. Yeah, it sure is. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, he's not the one to do the mentorship or be the leader of the house. He's not the one.
Oh no. Yeah. No, absolutely not. He's not the one. I don't see that he ever made a connection with her son, his stepson. He said right off the bat, and he also seemed like he was very aloof and not really open to the idea. Like some men will marry women, but they have no no imagination about they're going to be a father figure. They don't want that. And that's what I saw in Cedric. So no, he's definitely not the one. I'm really rooting for an older man, like even above his father's age, like a strong, virile, a military man. Maybe I can just see in my mind. I'm just kind of imagining the men that I know throughout my life. Maybe a military figure, a retired military man who is familiar with working with young men and mentoring other young men. This wouldn't be the first person that he's mentored, right? But a nice like 60-ish, a strong, virile military man who has raised a family, like I said, and loved a wife and had one woman in his life that he's loved that will impart these values and show him what the benefits are because as I've already pointed out, as I believe that in our culture, a lot of people who grew up without fathers, without two-parent households, don't attend a church where they see this type of behavior being modeled. They don't understand it. They don't understand or know the reason why society values marriage, and that marriage is the microcosm and the beginning of society. And without family and without two parents, a male and female lead, there is no there's it's a difficult time having a society that has the grit and the things that we need to come out of it, if that makes sense.
And you mentioned military, and I'm gonna tell you guys that the great Shaquille O'Neal stepfather was a military man and made him the Shaq O'Neal that we know today, because his biological father ran out on him and his mother. And this military man stepped in when Shaq was a little boy and molded him and trained him and taught him hard work and manhood and leadership. And we know the Shaquille O'Neal that we know today because of his stepdad. You know what I mean? So
exactly,
you need those kind of men to step in and mold him and be hard on him, because you let Shaq tell it, that man did not play no games. Did not play no games. But he loved him. He just loved him. He adored him. Shaq adored that man with all that stuff, with all that hardness. That man born into Shaq's life. He adored that man.
Well, you know what? And because here's the thing, typically my experience with military men as dating as being the daughter of a military man and having dated military men are known for their grit. They're known for their perseverance. They're known for their leadership, right?
Yep.
And typically, not all, because nothing is ever absolute, but typically, because when you're in the military, and particularly if you enter at a young age of, let's say, 17, 18 to 30, and you've been in there for a few years and maybe even made a career out of it, let's say, you will learn the values of integrity. You will learn the value of honesty. Why? Because if you're ever caught messing up, you are given an opportunity to go before, it's almost like a court. You're brought before your superiors and you have to explain to them what you did and why you did it. And if you lie, you'll get punished worse for lying instead of telling the truth. So the aspects and the values that we're supposed to learn in our home that oftentimes we miss, young adult men and women learn them in the military. And that is the value of a military background.
Right.
That is the very value of the very essence of it.
Discipline, structure, accountability.
Accountability, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
but also the thing at the shower too that stood out to me was that Latrice held the baby,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
she
yeah. I have that in my next card. Go ahead. Yeah.
like I can do this for about 28 days, and then I'll be done. Right.
She said,
So,
she said, I can hold the baby. Oh, it's cute. I can hold it for about 24 minutes, but not
24
24
minutes.
hours.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. I thought that was funny. She said, "Oh,
So
I can do this," and even the way she was holding it was so funny to me because I can remember the first time I actually held the baby, and even my own baby, and it was awkward. But the way she was holding it, I was like, "Yeah, you
right.
could tell she is not." I mean, like she's not even an auntie. Like
No.
like some women, you maybe don't have children, but you've been an auntie to infants, and you've held infants, and you've held them, and you know the support their neck. You know a certain way to
Right.
hold them.
Right.
She was so
Yep.
awkward. It was funny, but I thought it was cute though. I
Yeah.
thought it was
And
cute because she.
they had these dark glasses on the infant. It's funny.
Oh yeah, she put the little sunglasses, and she said, "Well, the
Yeah.
baby looks like me," when she put the glasses on. But back at home, speaking of
But
Latrice,
yeah, this is when we first find out though that she's
mm-hmm,
missed some cycles. She's missed
mm-hmm,
about 3 cycles.
she's missed about
So
3 cycles. It
yeah,
sounds like pregnancy to me.
right. That's what she tells Sophia. So so Gucci, as you like to call her, that she's
Mm-hmm,
missed about 3 cycles. So she don't know what's
mm-hmm.
going on with that. And then when she goes home to speak to Cliff, we get into that.
Right, right, right. And so I'm talking about that on this cue card. I say, well, back at home, she talks about her missed periods and if she's pregnant or not. They talk about the differences of their childhood, and in this card we're on currently, I say, did these two ever discuss a timeline for children before they got married? Because I don't understand the lack of intentionality. If you marry somebody now, true enough, her husband is what? He's quite a bit older than her,
20 years.
and he also has children from previous
5.
marriage. Okay, 5. Wow. Okay, and but apparently, I'm just kind of wondering. I'm not trying to throw stones at anybody, but I just wondered if it ever came up that maybe that he would want to have children with her because she is his wife and she doesn't have any with anyone. Um, and it was just, to me, you go ahead and talk about it, but I just want to say this. I have to say, as a woman, it was very painful for me to watch Latrice say certain things to her husband about being pregnant with their baby. It was very hurtful that she would feel that way about being pregnant with her husband's baby.
Right. Right. It's almost as if she's in distress.
It's so many. Go ahead.
Yeah, like she's in distress by even mentioning this to him because,
mm-hmm.
First of all, listen, if you know you don't want any children, take a birth control pill, do something, because she said herself, Cliff will be on you twice a day because he wants this child. So if you know that and you don't, which is a discussion that they should have, I'm not sure when they ever had this discussion, but if you know you don't want the child, then take a pill, use a diaphragm, something to protect yourself. Don't just sit around and hope that the sperm doesn't hit the egg, because it seems like you're just rolling the dice at that point. Okay, so it's clear when she said, listen, it's either, I'm sorry to hear her mention abortion, but she said abortion, adoption, or we're going to raise this child together. He said, if we're going to raise this child together, then you ain't my wife, because I don't believe in the other two.
Okay. Right. Yeah, that was, and I didn't want to say, I wish you hadn't said that A word, but anyway,
yeah.
I that's why I say it hurt my heart. And because too, the other thing of it is, and I know she's an individual woman, but there's so many women that would have loved to been in her shoes, to have a husband that loves them and wants to pamper them and wants them to work less hours and take care of them and their baby. Mm-hmm. There's so many women that would have loved to been in her position, and to hear her say that, it cut to the core. It was hard to watch that scene. It was very difficult.
She's dealing with some unresolved trauma because Cliff comes from money. Cliff comes from money. Okay, his
Right.
family
Yeah,
left
and that
him
was
money.
another thing that came out in the
Yeah,
conversation
it
too.
came
That
out. Cliff's
Mhm.
family left him well off money, land, houses to build on, land to build on, different things. So he didn't have that struggle. On the other hand, she did. She dealt with losing two brothers and these kind of her father, was kind of trifling, and then he passed on, and
Kind of trifling. Her
well,
father wasn't. He was trifling. Let's
you know,
call a thing a thing. Don't be
yeah.
so quick to call the women. Call
I,
a thing
I
with the
mean,
women. Yeah,
trifling is terrible. I mean, there's no good way to say trifling. He was trifling,
he was
you know.
trifling. He was
So,
trifling,
she
and he
know that.
wasn't in her life. And again, I would hazard to guess that it played some part in the loss of her brothers.
Yeah,
Because
because
again, once again, when these boys and these men, young men coming up as children, don't have their fathers in their lives, they struggle. They struggle
they
because most
struggle.
women cannot do what your mom did. Your mom was a very resilient, very resourceful, and intelligent woman to have raised three young men to come up to be successful and not having spent major time in prison and not having, just to be successful men. Your mother was, I applaud her. I applaud her.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, so Latrice is dealing with those past traumas that she's still trying to deal with because she's like, listen, I want to be married to you for the rest of my life, but things do happen, and I want
Yeah.
to make sure I'm good financially.
Hmm.
Okay, she said he comes from money, but she doesn't,
She
and she want to
doesn't,
get her
right?
own grind on and build her own thing. And what he's saying is, as long as
Hmm.
you're my wife, I got you.
Right.
But he said to her, she said, I'm a great wife. He said, you're a good wife. You're a
Yeah,
good
I thought
wife.
that was interesting that he said that, and he seemed very sincere. And he didn't say it in a malicious way. He wasn't
No,
being mean about it. I kind of gathered from what he was saying that part of her being a better wife or a great wife would be, for her to soften up a little bit and be a little more into the role. And see, that's another thing. Like I said, I don't know what these two people, none of us have any idea, just going by what we're seeing now, but none of us have any idea what the two of them discussed on their way to the altar, on their way to being married. Was the deal that she was going to work, or that at some point that they would have a child and she would kind of ease up on work, because she's very driven. And I love that. Don't get me wrong, I love that about Latrice is one of my favorite characters in this show. I love her drive. I love the fact that she took a little something like a few $100s and some hair that she was selling out of her car and turned it into a whole business, a whole industry for herself that's worldwide. Okay. I love that about her drive. But, at the end of the day, I definitely see Cliff's side in this. And like I said, I was very hurt that if a woman was to find out that she missed her cycle 3 months in a row, that she would feel like, the best thing that she could do was go to a clinic, which maybe right now as we speak is not even an option with the new laws and the Supreme Court ruling.
right,
So
right,
I
right.
just, I would hate to think, with even without that though, a married
Mm,
woman, I mean, it's not like you're a victim of incest or
mm,
rape,
right.
but a married woman that would want to do that, that just, it broke my heart. It broke my heart to hear her say that.
Yeah, and Cliff is like, listen, when is enough money enough? And
Yeah.
she said, you
Yeah.
can never have too much money. He said, well, see, that's the problem. You want
That's
to
a
constantly
problem.
chase and chase and chase. When do we sit down? When do we travel? When do we enjoy ourselves? When do we build a family? When do we do these things that are more
Hmm.
important?
Right.
Than just
Right.
chasing a dollar, chasing a dollar. So that's where their disconnect is coming from. Because Cliff is like, as long
Hmm.
as I'm around, we good. And
We're
her
good.
thing is, listen, you could turn around any day now and say, tell me to bug off, and I still got to have my act together or my financial end. That's how she feels because she has abandonment issues from men.
She had, that's you hit the nail on the head the way I see it. I agree with you 100%. She does have abandonment issues, and I feel the only way for her to help ease those and make those kind of right side those, which is a military term, to right size something, to right size it, is to make it, give it the healthy perspective that it deserves. That's a consideration for every woman that's married or raising children or in a relationship. You always should be concerned and consider, what if this person leaves me? What if this person even, passes away? That happens, right?
Right.
So you have you have life insurance, you have a variety of different things where you can insure yourself. And as she's been grinding all these years with this business, I would like to think that she has some type of investments, some property, that she has some things that are in her own name.
Right.
So, I mean, but she really needs to, I believe she really needs to seek therapy, because I think you're absolutely right. Latrice has abandonment issues, and it's understandable, hearing from her a couple of episodes ago, hearing her mother talk about what happened to the brothers, how the father was never present. So she's never had a man to stay in her life, for what one reason or another.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Regardless of the reason, one reason or another, she's never had a man be steadfast in her life and be there for her consistently. She never had that kind of consistency. So she's not used to it. So in her mind, Cliff could wake up one morning and go, listen, I don't want this anymore. You go your way, I go mine. If you don't want this baby, you don't want a child, you can go ahead and take care of your own business. Because she said at the end of that discussion, I don't want nobody telling me what to do and how to think. So I would just leave. He said, bye. So that just
I think he was being facetious, but he was trying to show her, because if she is willing to do, especially that one thing that we're not going to say, that A word, if she would be willing to do that to her own husband's baby,
right.
I mean,
that's a deal breaker for him.
That's not only, but think about it. Okay, that's a deal breaker. But stop and think about it for a minute. How hurt must he have been on the inside, but kept his composure? How hurt must he have been to hear her say those words to him, to his face, knowing that he wants a baby and that he's in full support of her having his child? Right. How hurt must he have been? But he kept his frame, because he's a man's man. He's not going to cry. He's not going to show how hurt he was. But how hurt must he have been? Because like I said, I'm sitting over here and I'm not even related to either one of them, and I was hurt.
Because as we refrain from the other A word, okay, the adoption word, why would you have to even consider adoption? The father's right there. Why would you even mention that? What man would do that? If he's able, well off, why would he ever put his child up for adoption? That doesn't even make sense.
That was weird. Yeah, like I said, so even both of those, how painful must that have been to hear her say that? Because you're right, that I didn't even consider, because I was so stuck on that first A word. That had to have been another slap in the face. So it's like she double slapped him, triple slapped him.
Craziness. I mean, and look, Aubrey, we keep saying they're married now. Where was this discussion? This is a serious discussion, okay? Because you have to know you're married. You're going to be sexually active. You were sexually active more than likely before you even got married. The chances are she may become impregnated. Let's have this discussion, And I just think they wanted to get married. People avoid these things all the time, get married, and then during the marriage, these things become an issue because no one talks. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Wow. Yeah, you know what? That's a possibility that they didn't talk it through. They were passionate about each other. They were hot over each other. They do have that business. They're both business people. They both have businesses and they're entrepreneurs. So that was a tie-in. That was a connection. And maybe they didn't stop to consider, but okay, so we're business people and we're grinding night and day. And especially her, she's grinding night and day, because I imagine that he's kind of got his things on autopilot to a certain degree. He's got the people in his business that he can trust, and family members, or whomever those people are, CPAs and all this kind of stuff. And here she is grinding because she's newer at her business, right? And like she said, she didn't come from money. Everything that she got, she had to earn it. And there was I don't know if you remember the episode, but going back, there was an episode where she talked about it. He's not part owner in her business. When she went to him initially for money, I think he either denied her or he steered her somewhere else. He did not invest in her business. So she did that. She built that business from the ground up.
Mm-hmm. I like what Ellen's saying here. Ellen V says she made a point that her dad promised her mom that he would be there and he wasn't. And Cliff said, I'm not your daddy, I'm your husband. So don't put me in the same box as your dad. We're two different men. Your dad was trifling. I took care of all 5 of my kids and I'm taking care of you. So don't put me in the same category as your dad. But again, she has those daddy issues. She got those issues.
Right, right, right. And that's sad because you know, that's like what you said. She's putting all of her father's irresponsibility, his poor lack of leadership and manhood onto her husband, who clearly is not the same man. And we've seen her husband, we've seen him man up even against other men, talking
Mm-hmm.
about the Glenn situation, for example, and
Right.
how he did not like that Glenn was making a mockery of his own child's birthday party in public,
Right.
and that he'd rather clown his wife, who he's estranged from at the time, rather than just see his son have a happy birthday and make the birthday about the child. He wants to go in and clown his wife and talk all kind of smack and try to be controlling over her, even though he has obviously. Glenn has no control over his penis, but he wants to make her have control over her body. Like, are you crazy, dude?
Right.
Really? You sleeping around, you got maybe a side baby out here and outside of wedlock, outside of our marriage, and you worrying about what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Boy,
Yeah.
sit down.
Right. You want me to be loyal. Where's your loyalty? So
Right, right. So
yeah.
we got let's get over here. And thanks, Monique. I'm glad you saw that. Appreciate you always. You and Ellen, I appreciate you so much. Um Wait a minute, I lost my hold on before you get
Mm-hmm.
to running your mouth. You always kill me like you rushing me.
Uh-huh.
Gives me anxiety over here. But we'll finish up with this, guy. So the Bells go to celebrate Marie's methadone treatment clinic, and everybody's looking stunning. The women all look great. They have on their, they're dressed to the nines, and of course, all the ladies are there. Um, the Damon and Tambra security guard incident comes up as the ladies are talking. And, Tambra, of course, once again, in her lack of transparency, she wants to brush it under the rug. She doesn't really want to talk about it. Akeisha makes a big announcement that
Mm-hmm.
her and her husband are about to get their Ferris Street project off and running. And to Letitia's surprise, Letitia's like, wow, she isn't even including me in this project. Oh my God, I've been done in by Akeisha.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? And then we got a last thing, but we'll come to that last. But what are your thoughts about so far what I've said?
Yeah, and what I find interesting about Akeisha's big announcement is that
Hmm.
Letitia has been going out of her way all season with all the arguing, all the distress, all the bickering. She has gone out of her way to make Akeisha a part of everything. Okay, and now Akeisha sits down and says, "My husband and I are going to complete this Ferry Street project as a family," and she doesn't even include Letitia in that. And to me, that's kind of a slap in the face because Letitia's like, "Listen, she didn't even mention me." Now, with all the strife and the screwed up brunches and all this stuff, she continued to invite Akeisha and include Akeisha in all of this stuff, despite what the turnout was. Okay. But now you're making a huge announcement about this project we've been discussing all season, and you don't mention me. So I could see why Letitia would feel slighted in that. I
Yeah.
really can see that.
Yeah, she looked like she was genuinely surprised and hurt. I can see it too. I
Yeah.
can see it too, but I tell you what, I'm gonna do a Kempire over here, and I'm gonna twerk on the fence a little bit. I can see it, but I can also see Akeisha after all this back and forth about whether she allegedly called the ladies ugly or not, and whether she was better than them or not. I can see Akeisha though too, because I put myself in that situation. I can see Akeisha not feeling like she's gonna have peace working with this other person, being Letitia. I can see that
Yeah, there's
because
no trust.
if you're right, because if you're doing business right and we have no trust, and not only do we not have trust, but now we actually have kind of bad blood, basically, right? because this probably was made before earlier in the episode. The decision to not include Letitia was probably made before they actually made up. I'm going to guess that. I don't know, but I'm going to assume and guess that, right? That's in my opinion.
Right.
So if I have this bad blood between you and we're not really getting along, why would I ever want to do business with you, be in business with you, and 24/7 I got to deal with you?
Yeah.
I see both sides of it. I really
And,
do.
yeah, somebody said in the chat earlier, they said Letitia's a flip flopper. Now maybe Keisha feels the same way. Maybe Keisha feels like we're friends 1 minute, enemies the next. Friends 1 minute, enemies the next. You know, and it's hard to trust a relationship like that. You know, and when you're putting this much money, because I'm assuming there's a lot of money involved in this, in this project.
They're talking about millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars. Okay, if you're putting this much money, you got
Mm-hmm.
you gotta be strong willed. You gotta have a strong arm in this thing, and you just can't take no bull. You can't have nobody around you flip flopping. Sometimes you just can't have that.
You reminded me of my mother. My mother used to say that person is sometimey.
Yeah, sometimey. Yeah.
Where you get that word from, sometimey? But yeah, it makes sense because sometimes they're your friend and sometimes they're not. Sometimes sometimes they despise you, and that's the sense that you're getting between Akeisha and LaKeisha. So I do understand Akeisha's position that I'm just gonna do this with my husband, who we get along, we work well together, we've been married for several years, so
right.
I'm not gonna do this thing with Letitia because Letitia is sometimey and she thinks I called her ugly, but I didn't call her ugly. Why would I have reason to call her ugly? She better look at the person that brought that rumor to her, being Tambra.
right exactly, because the statement apparently was, she just said something to the effect of, and I may be paraphrasing, but where are all the pretty people in Jackson? That was the statement according to Akeisha. So the word ugly's not in there.
Right. You know. That's right. She did say that. So I don't know where all of this, it probably got misconstrued, turned around, twisted around. But I mean, my thing is, as a woman, if another woman, unless one of them is my very, very best friend, which, at the moment I currently don't have a female friend, I'm not going to really believe you, one woman to another woman. I'm not going to believe one of them over the other anyway, if that makes sense. I'm just basically going to be neutral to it. And then I'm going to watch the way both of them move. But with Akeisha being newer to Letitia, what I would have seen as being commonsensical and practical is watch the way she moves with you. Don't worry about what people told you about her if you were serious about getting this Fair Street project off the ground. But watch how she moves and then determine from there. But I'm going to say one more thing that comes to my mind, though, too, for in a feather or in favor of Akeisha. Akeisha said early on, she was very upfront and straightforward. Do you recall when she told Letitia to her face, if you don't have the money or you don't have the funds, we're not doing this. I won't bet you. You got to bring a lot of money to this project, and so
she did say that. Yeah,
among the two of us, which one of us believes that Letitia has that kind of money?
No, I don't think she got the money that Willie Colon and his wife got. Former NFLer, made millions of dollars in the NFL, and I don't think she has that kind of money.
Exactly.
I ain't saying she broke, but she ain't got that kind of money.
You may be thinking that Kanye West
West song, right?
We ain't gonna say that, but okay.
I ain't saying she a gold digger. She ain't messing with no broke.
Okay. And last thing, because I knew there was something else on this card. The other woman, the decorator, was there at this event for Marie, and Tambra saw when the other woman walked in, and Tambra, once again, she hopped up, said her goodbyes, said I love you, and swooped out the room. So what's that all about? Like, what?
And there she is running again. Okay, and the decorator's like, you can talk to everybody else, but I'm here now. Talk to me. Okay, Tambra runs out. You just desperate and fake, or whatever she said. You desperate and something, and run out. The woman's right there. This is your opportunity to find out what's the relationship like with her and Damon. I mean, because in order for Marie to invite the woman, you had to know that there was gonna be nothing but tension in the room once that woman walked in there with Tambra. You had to know that. Okay, so maybe that was done for the dramatic effect of it. But the fact of the matter is, that was Tambra's opportunity to find out, what is the intimate connection? What are you talking about? And after all these years, all this time, is this a new connection? Is something y'all had years ago? What is this about? But she want to jump up and run from it. She don't want to face reality.
You said something earlier, and I'm gonna tie this in together, and we're gonna close this out. But I think, yeah, as a woman, if I was concerned that my man supposedly was with this other woman, I think it would have been a good time to have a quiet, respectful conversation. And then, but I like what you said, though, too. The perfect scenario would be for the three of these people that are involved, Tambra, this other woman, and Damon, for the three of them to sit down and have a conversation about what it really is. Because
Right.
I promise you, if she could get Damon to sit down with this other woman in front of her, the body language and the lack of eye contact will tell it all. Exactly.
Yeah, because if you have three of them in the room discussing this, no one can say what the other one didn't say. Everybody's there. So if you only got two of them having a discussion, somebody could always say, "I didn't say that." Same thing with the ugly thing. I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Right.
I don't know where that came from. All this nonsense. Right.
And that's exactly what Damon, even by himself, that's what he does. Like earlier in this episode, that's what Damon, he was kind of vacillating, using vague language. Again, anybody that's aware of distraction tactics or somebody just they're wandering their language, their body language. The guy was lying. He was clearly lying. And like you said, but the thing to be, if he was being straightforward and honest, so maybe on the breakup, maybe he did get with this other woman. But say that. Own up to it. Say that.
And if you don't want to get married, say, listen, I really don't want to marry you, but you can have a keto. Just say that.
Yeah, just say that. If you can have a key, and I wouldn't mind having a baby with you. I would like to have a baby with you because I just thought about this too. One thing I haven't heard, I don't know whether it's true or not, but no one has said whether Damon has other children. He is a man of a certain age. He's 40 plus too. So does he have other children?
That's a good question.
And he may not. He may not intentionally. He may have been one of those men that actually suited and booted up for the position, right?
Right.
So,
right.
So he may not have any other children. I'm going to assume, since nobody has mentioned any, I'm going to assume that he doesn't. Now I'm going to, we can check on that and find out later. But I'm going to assume that he doesn't. So maybe he does want to have a child with Tambra. But like you said, say that. Say that.
And here's the thing too. It's like, not to put Damon down, okay, but I'm not going to say he's a prize either, because
that's what I've been wondering. Like,
what does the decorator have to gain by bringing all this up now? What does she have to gain? What's in it for her? Because if what's in it for her is Damon, then she don't want much. You know what I mean? So it's something more behind this.
Wait a minute. Say that again. Say that again. You're saying that the decorator is not much in it from
no. Why would she bring all this up now? Because if Damon is the prize, then she don't want much. Because why would she bring all this up now?
We're kind of, like you said, I think the thing of it is that we also have to keep in mind is we're dealing with these small town mindsets. We're dealing with these people where a little bit seems like a lot. A piece of a man is better than no man. Let's think about, give you an example, not saying that this is it, but let's think about peeing in eggs.
Right.
And that's in Atlanta, which is a way bigger city than Jackson, Mississippi. Right. Mm-hmm. If the women in Atlanta, there's a drought there for good men too. If the women are able to put up with just peeing in eggs, think how bad it must be in Jackson.
I said earlier, the pickings are slim.
Pickings are slim.
So.
But tell everybody about your channel and what you got going on over there real quick, and we're gonna waltz our way on out of here.
Yeah, my channel now is about a month and a half old. I'm moving toward 100 subscribers. That's the goal right now.
Yeah, and road to 100.
Get to 100. Magnetic repellent and got some good content up there. Please leave comments and things like that. So I appreciate you
What's
guys.
this latest video you just put out about the sun? Real quickly, if you could tell them
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, this is about a mentally ill son, 15 years old, 270 pounds, 6 feet
Wow.
tall. Destroyed his mother's house. I mean, destroyed it. If you guys go see the video on TikTok, this place is destroyed. It's like the Incredible Hulk went through there. And for all intents and purposes, he is the Incredible Hulk to his mother.
Right. You know, and you actually have the links to those TikToks. You tell them that you have those links in your description. We'll say that.
Yeah, absolutely. The links to those TikTok videos in the description of the video. The video is entitled 15-year-old mentally ill son, destroys his mother's home. And so go watch that video. Let me know what your thoughts are with that. And I'm growing the channel. I'm on IG, AWLeaf67 on IG. So hit me up.
Right. And you know what I'm going to do if I don't already have it up on my community tab? I know I just put one of your videos up, but if it's not that one, I'm going to go ahead and link that in and put that on my community tab. So it makes it easier for you guys to find it. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Please join my A-Team membership, guys. This is helps me to keep bringing content. Alex and I to bring content to you, to bring Ready to Love on Sundays, Ready to Love panel, including Ron and Jay and Alex here. Kimberly Reviews, and so many others that have come through, including Cousin Cornbread. So many Ready to Love alum that come through every Sunday. Also bringing you the Married at First Sight panel that we bring you with Kimberly's reviews, and also with Let's Talk India and Igor. So guys, be sure to join the membership, like the video, subscribe, share me out. And we really appreciate you sticking around till the end. We love you guys. You want to say bye, Alex?
I want to say bye. I want to say send some cash apps to actually Aubrey for some coffee.
I've been needing some too. I need some more of that Michigan cherry. I ran out.
Right.
Well, Alex, I'll see you around. We'll see you guys back in the next video. Love you guys.